and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. This is an awesome meeting because we have our middle school Mary Poppins cast, and it's going to be the best thing ever. So we'll get to you in just a second. We're thrilled you're here.
Mrs. Day, do you want to kind of set the stage for us of what we're about to see?
Sure.
All right.
Jane and Michael and Mary have been walking through, taking trips out in their town, and they just stumble upon Mrs. Corey's talking shop. And Mrs. Corey sells letters and words and conversation, and they're looking for something fun to do. And in the talking shop, they put together a whole series of letters that make no sense that spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So we have both Mary Poppins here. Can you, Georgia and Evie are Mary Poppins, and we have our Janes, who are Janes, Peyton and Tessa, and then our Michaels, Adele and Phoebe, and then Mrs. Corey is Sloan. Our other Mrs. Corey is sick tonight. And then, of course, we have Bert, Helen, and Brittany. And then we have two other characters, Roberts and I, and Mrs. Brill, and they are like the people that work in the bank's house. Everyone is double cast in our show because we have 65 students participating, which is awesome. So you will see one cast, and then another night you will see another cast, which is pretty awesome. So they're going to perform double casted tonight, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay. Yeah. Are we ready to dive in? Okay. So this is our audience here. Can we set up this way? I'll take where you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Down a little bit.
I'll play it. Can you tell me if
it's
it's
loud
good
enough.
or good? Okay.
To express oneself is frankly quite absurd. Moving through lengthy lexicons to find the perfect word. A little spontaneity keeps conversation keen. You need to find a way to say precisely what you mean. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it is something quite atrocious. If you say it loud enough, you're always so precocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'll do it, 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 What's the next time one shot is simply buzzing once or twice. Though if they had this word, they might use it once or twice. I'm sure those Roman empires only entered the abyss because those Latin scholars never had it in their midst. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. If you say it softly, it could be atrocious. Check your breath before you speak in case it's halitosis. Yeah. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'll do it, 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 I'll do it.
You know you can say it backwards, which is Selkodalai, Sisyphilagop, and the Creepus.
She may be tricky, but she's bloody good. The cat has got your coat, there's no need for dismay. Just summon up this way, then you've got a lot to say. We got the racing monsters and 16 others there, and what they did in order, which is very hard to
L-C-I-O-U-S. Smarty pants.
SUPERCalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Can we ask questions?
Please.
Okay. Do any board members or anybody at this table have questions? If not, I'll ask one. When is the show? What are the dates?
It is February 7th and February 8th and February 9th. February 7th and the February 8th matinee show is Umbrella Cast. And then February 8th night show and Sunday matinee on the February 9th is Supercast.
And where can people get tickets besides outside the cafeteria?
Yeah, mobile music.
Mobile music, I heard.
And then if you're a parent picking up your child during show week, you can get tickets at the 7th grade office.
And I'm guessing Mary Poppins will be very popular, and so it will be a crowded house each night, so you'll want to get tickets early, right? And the question I always want to know, do we know when the high school cast is coming to see the show?
Opening night.
They are
Open.
coming to
And then they are
multiple.
going to try to come to the Sunday matinee as well to see both casts.
Sandwich.
That's always a fun experience when they're in the audience as well.
The other cool thing that we added this year, which is kind of wild and crazy but awesome, is that we hired a company called On the Fly, and we are flying Mary Poppins on a fly system. She's coming in from the air, landing on stage. We have multiple trained people. We've done practices. We've worked with the fly captain from that company. Georgia flew today. She was very high up in the air. Did you feel relatively safe? Yeah.
Relatively?
Yep, it was only her second time doing it, so she did a good job.
Okay, all right.
But that's pretty neat, cool experience for our tech people and for our cast, so that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Good. If you
Oh, my
just
gosh.
slide the thing forward, it should turn on.
How long did it take to learn all of those hand motions for the spelling for supercalifragilistic?
2 days. Okay.
I still haven't learned that.
Will you raise your hand if you've been in a show before? Oh, wow. Turning talent. How exciting. That was awesome, because this is a hard size group of people to perform to. That was really impressive. You were great, and we can't wait to see you on stage. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
When did you start rehearsing? Right when you got back from break, so less than a month. That's a- Oh, Thanksgiving break. Oh,
We
okay.
started,
That makes more
after
sense.
Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And would you all say this was the most fun number of the show?
Yeah.
Great.
Do you sing the song all the time at home, and does it drive your parents crazy?
Copious amounts of earplugs.
Well, thank you all so much. Break a leg. Have a wonderful show. We can't wait to see it. Thanks for coming tonight. Yeah.
Thank you, parents, too, for bringing everybody tonight. Appreciate it. That's great.
It'll be great. Can't wait.
Great. Yep. All right, now on to the agenda. We have minutes up for approval. I'll ask for motions, please. Jen, Beth, all in favor? Or questions? I assume questions. That carries unanimously. Thank you. And warrants. I'll move for Amy. Beth, you want a second? Great. Questions or comments? All in favor? That carries unanimously also. Let me see.
You kind of have to lean into them a little bit, Macy, just as an FYI.
Is this okay?
It's
Okay, awesome. The big thing in student government that we just did is we finished our constitutional convention. So we completely redid our entire constitution. It took a while and we're done now. So if you don't mind, I'll share some highlights with you. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
So we have come up with these like action verbs, 5 of them that we want to carry on and like represent for our school as leaders. So they are represent, advocate, collaborate, lead by example, and empower. And there's a bunch of other things, so I'm gonna go pretty fast. So we've also done this thing where we're having an open floor policy at the beginning of every meeting, and we really want to do that to prioritize these new I guess, like, groups that we've created to help plan events instead of having one person do it. So that's another thing. We also have a point system now, and we're keeping track of everything, I guess, or event that someone participates in, and that will help them, I guess, get recognition at the end of their time in student government. I'm sorry, I have 2 pages.
You're fine. Keep going. This is great.
You're the highlight at this
Okey-dokey.
point, so keep going.
All right, and we also have a ton of new positions. So I'll talk about the important ones to keep it short. But we have a publicity officer now. We have a membership tracker, social media manager. Board of Ed rep is now going to be its own position, so that's great. And then we're also having 2 PTSA reps, a junior and a senior. So yeah, I guess if anyone has questions about that,
Do you know the PTSA president right there?
I know her. Nice to meet you. Oh my gosh, that's so great. Okay, I think that's all I have. I'm sorry about taking your time.
Oh, that's
Thank
great.
you for listening.
That was a very worthy update. Thank you. Questions, Julian?
Those positions, are those elected positions?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, so people will run for those.
Yeah, so we have a ton of new people, and really what we're trying to do is figure out where they would fit best in our club and where we can use their talents. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Any other questions for Missy? Great.
Thanks so
Thank you
much.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm just fairly quick. As most of you saw, Governor Hochul released her budget last week, and I just wanted to talk about that briefly. The budget runs came out, so you're able to see what every district across New York State is projected to receive under her budget. Our increase is 4.8%, which is a decent increase year to year. But remember, the governor's numbers are just draft numbers, and that doesn't mean that's what we're actually getting. Typically, in my experience, when the governor releases their budget run, that's kind of the floor, and you typically would get more than what the governor's number projects just based on the legislators' discussion and what they come forward with the final, except for, in my experience, in election years. Sometimes it actually goes in the reverse order, that the governor will come out with a more lofty budget plan and offer more, and then the legislators reel it back. And so, while we're pleased with the 4.8%, we're not foolish to understand that it probably or very likely could be less. We really don't know. So it's something we'll continue to track. And I know later in the agenda, talking about board goals, budget calendar, budget guidelines, and Matt can chime in a little bit on that when we get to that point. But I wasn't sure if you wanted to add anything to what I just shared.
Yeah, so the 4.8% is actually one of our better increases in the last few years. What we don't have yet is the data behind that, how they calculated that. So once we have that, we can start looking into it and gaining more confidence with the different numbers within the budget run. And as Jamie said, these will change once the legislature adopts their budget and they go into negotiations. So it's a very good start. Last year at this time we're talking about 0% for a lot of schools and the hold harmless, right? The negative reductions for schools. And this year the governor's proposal has a minimum 2% increase. Even if you are one of these schools that's hold harmless and your calculation is lower than what you're actually getting, they're getting a 2% increase at this point. So that's very different news than the entire budget cycle last year. And so hopefully, that's, optimistic, and hopefully, at least stays at this level and maybe better, but we'll see.
Thanks, Matt. The only other thing I would add is our state advocates are indicating that part of what maybe is what's driving some of the numbers across the state is a more realistic look at the wealth of a community. And so typically it's been driven off of kind of your free and reduced lunch rates, but the state has access to real-time data that's much more accurate regarding your community's wealth. And so when people generally think of Canandaigua, people think it's a wealthy community because we do have a lot of wealth in the community, but there's also a lot of poverty. And so out of the Rockefeller Institute study, there was recommendations to look more closely at real measures of poverty, and they believe that the governor is looking at that a little bit more. And so when you look at Ontario County, the 9 districts in Ontario County, I think we were more favorable than all of them in terms of our percentage raise. One or two were close to us, but we had the more favorable percentage. And I think ultimately that's largely because it now has a more accurate look at the poverty that is in existence in our community that a lot of people aren't really aware of. And so more to learn in the next month or two, because that's when budget really kicks up. But I just wanted to kind of give an update on that, and I wasn't sure if any of you had any questions.
We have a consensus agenda and supplemental. Ask for motions, please. Julianne, Milton, questions or comments? All in favor? That carries unanimously. Thank you. We have budget guidelines and process and calendar. We can act on that tonight. That does not mean we can't change it moving forward. Is anybody willing to make a motion? Oh, sorry. Is it? I think it's still on, isn't it? I just didn't talk directly enough into it. So you can make a motion tonight, and it does not mean that we can't change it moving forward. Is there anyone who wants to make a motion? Milton, a second. Jenny, questions or comments? All in favor? That carries unanimously also. Thank you. Safety committee met. I don't know if any. Okay, so we'll skip that tonight. I don't have anything else. Do you?
I do not either.
Okay, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Jen and Milton, all in favor. Thank you. Good night, everybody.